Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador's webinar, How to Recruit Top Tourism Talent in a Tight Labor Market. I'm Juanita Ford with Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, and we are very pleased you could all join us today, and we're looking forward to some great discussions. We'll do questions at the end, and if you're out there and you'd like to tweet or Facebook about being on the webinar, don't forget to use the hashtag Path2Profit. That's hashtag PATHS, number 2, PROFIT. The logo is on the bottom of the screen, and we just want to let you know about what we're doing in regards to the 3-year action plan for skills and knowledge for the industry. And Path to Profit is the brand we're using to tie everything together. We are delighted that you're here to join us today, but we want to let you know that this is only one thing offering in a larger picture, and that will be multiple avenues for learning and continued opportunities to grow your business. Successfully developing your business takes more than just attending one webinar or one workshop, and that's what it's all about, and we're here to help. Along with our other partners in this initiative, the Department of Business, Tourism, Culture, and Rural Development, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, and the Regional Destination Management Organizations. So that's enough for me. I'm going to turn it over to Carla now, Carla May of Cornerstone HR. She's our facilitator today. Carla is a skilled consultant, trainer, and facilitator. She's the owner and operator of Cornerstone HR, which was founded in 2011. She resides in Corner Brook. Carla has enjoyed providing effective and innovative human resource management consulting, training, facilitation, along with occupational health and safety programming for a large group of businesses, nonprofits, and government agencies. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Carla to get started. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks very much, Juanita. That was a great introduction. I appreciate the invitation to be here today. So for everybody online, Juanita contacted me a while back and had suggested that they often hear from the tourism operators that you might be having some challenges recruiting in the tight labor market. So my question was back to Juanita, and she provided me lots of information. What kind of recruiting challenges are you having? Are you having trouble finding general labor? Are you having trouble trying to find skilled labor? Are you just not finding top talent? Those sorts of things. So I sort of tailored the presentation around just generic, if you were having general concerns about talent in general, top talent, as well as your labor pool, those sorts of things. So hopefully some of these suggestions might be able to help you out along the way. So the ability to find great employees, of course, is going to vary over, time. So, right now it might be different compared to a year from now. In St. John's, it may be different than in St. Anthony. So, again, I just tried to make this as general as possible to help address various concerns and challenges that you might be having. So there may be fluctuations in the availability of your workers because of, a major project may start up. So something such as Muskrat Falls may have taken away a number of potential workers out of the labor pool, those sorts of things. And then, of course, if a major business shuts down or there's a number of layoffs due to economic challenges, then all of a sudden there's an influx into the market. So it's always changing, and of course you have to adapt your recruitment strategies based on what's happening in the environment around you. So as an employer, it's important to remember that good candidates can exist even in a tight labor market. It's important that if at all possible, don't compromise on your requirements for good talent. Good talent is what gives your business a competitive edge. Hiring the wrong person, of course, can lead to many problems for you and your business. They could be problems with, leading to poor morale if one employee is not performing his or her duties. Their coworkers may have to pick up the slack, and that's going to lead to, poor morale amongst those employees, those sorts of things. It could get serious into legal challenges. You might lose revenue or clients, lost production, and so on. So compromising on hiring the best candidates that you can lead to some serious challenges. Of course, and hiring the wrong candidates can lead to you're filling the position with the wrong person, and the right person is probably out there, and you're missing out on that opportunity. Of course, poor performers can also lead to you losing your top talent as well, again leading to a cycle in poor morale and downturn in your employees and that sort of thing. Talent employees like to work for companies that have other good talent, of course. If they feel that their company's hiring standards are depreciating, they may want to move on for a position in another organization that has more talent than your company. So when talent is hard to find, how you reach out to them can make a difference. So here we have my top 6 techniques to find and attract top talent. So you can look at recruiting as a vehicle. It's for a two-way information exchange between the individual or potential candidate and the organization or your business. Both the individual and the organizations are presenting their best faces, and both are trying to learn as much about the other as possible. So this is a fact that's often overlooked by many companies. They don't see the interview as a great opportunity for selling themselves, as a great place to work, that sort of thing. So when a candidate comes in for an interview, it's a great opportunity to put the best face forward to show some great talent that you have at your business, the great activities you're doing in the community, and so on and so forth, what an energetic culture you have. Those things are a great opportunity to bring forth the best part of your business to try and attract the top talent that you've brought in for an interview. So you know that you need to fill a position. Now what? So my first suggestion is you cast a wide net. So within that, there's 6 suggestions. So first, look internally. So look for ways to develop current employees to meet the needs within other areas of the organization. So often, you've got a pool of candidates already in your business that know your business very well. They know your policies. They know your products or your services. And often they're familiar with other positions within the company enough so that they could move into those roles. So if you could move somebody up into a higher level position, and then it may be easier to fill the lower level position, creating that vacancy. Employees always appreciate the opportunity to advance and take on new responsibilities, so that's one thing to consider. Second, you can ask your current staff for referrals. Your employees will want to refer only people who will be productive and work well in the company so as to not jeopardize their own positions. Who better to tout how great your firm is than those who are already working for you? However, you've got to make it worth their while, offer incentives for successful referrals, and they'll be sure to keep open their eyes and ears for talent as they're out and about in the community. So you should set a policy if you choose to go with that route. Your policy would state, if you refer a successful candidate and they're still with us after a year, you would receive a bonus of some sort. So you can set, a $500 cash bonus or an extra week's vacation, or, be creative, something that might entice them to want to keep their eyes out to find top talent to offer to you. So my third suggestion is to contact former employees who may have left on good terms. So you can contact them and see if they're still happy in their new position. And of course, if they're not, you can always let them know that you'd be happy to have them return to your company and fill a position with your organization again. Fourth suggestion is to hit the road, get out into the community. So for example, get your business out into the community. If there's a charity event or some other activity happening, that you can put your employees out to be in the face of the public, that sort of thing. And at the same time, you're recruiting. You can be wearing your shirts that advertise the company's logo or have some banners on display, those sorts of things. But the most successful activities that you can participate in would be ones that relate to your business. So for example, if you're a construction company, you might want to get involved in rehabbing homes for low-income families. Or if you're a flower shop, you can get involved with a community or neighborhood beautification program. By being involved in the community and events that cater to the same type of employees that you're looking for, you increase the odds of finding the best fit. So while you're out participating in the community event, you would find other people who are also participating in those types of events that might be a good cultural fit for your organization. Another suggestion would be to partner with your local community college or high schools. Get out and speak with the current students, or possibly start an internship or look into work terms. There are also good opportunities to recruit new staff. Be sure to introduce yourself to the local high school or local college advisors and let them know that, periodically you're looking for top talent. You can let them know what sort of candidates you'd be looking for, and they would be on the lookout for top students that they might want to refer to you. So my fifth suggestion is to consider non-traditional sources. So for example, the baby boomer generation is a generation of talented, experienced workers who are looking for second careers or part-time work. By broadening your search to include parameters with 50-plus workforce, you increase your pool of candidates, and you also improve your chances of landing a competent, talented workforce. Another group often overlooked is the disabled community. Blind and deaf and wheelchair users are notoriously underemployed, yet they're educated and ready to work with a few accommodations. So expend your recruitment effort to rehabilitation agencies or senior groups or special interest organizations that work with those groups, and you might be able to tap into some other available talent. My sixth suggestion and final one is to consider hiring people who are great candidates but don't necessarily meet all of your job requirements. So they may fulfill majority of them, but they might be lacking in a certain type of training or experience or hands-on. So you can bring them into your firm and train them on the job and provide them with that little piece that they were missing initially. So number 2, the second technique in attracting and finding your top talent is to understand who you need. So by carefully matching the best person with the right skills and fit to your job, you ensure a greater chance of success. Because, of course, turnover is very expensive. So you want to ensure that you get the right person from the beginning. So to do that, you would conduct a job analysis for each unique position you're recruiting. So if you're looking for 5 people to fulfill the same position, then, of course, you only need to conduct one job analysis. But if you're fulfilling 5 different types of positions and the employees would be doing different tasks and would require different qualifications, then you would need to do a job analysis for each one of those. So a job analysis would include doing an in-depth, look at the position and trying to ascertain what qualities would be best for someone in that position, what qualifications they would require to fulfill the needs of that job. At the heart of most recruiting efforts is the match between a person and a job. It's critical that the recruiter understands what it will take for the candidate to succeed in the job. So if it's your HR manager that's doing the recruiting, it would be very wise if he or she spoke with the manager of that position. So if you're recruiting, an office administrator, whoever would be their manager or supervisor, speak with them, find out what requirements, what duties that person would be required to fill and what qualifications would best fit. So then your HR manager has that information and they know the top quality person that they should be seeking to fill that role. So number 3, be creative and innovative with marketing recruiting methods. So the first suggestion to try that would be to capitalize on technology. Of course, we're all familiar with our traditional advertising in the newspaper or on, the major internet resources, that sort of thing. Technology is the way that, most people are finding their jobs these days. So capitalize on that. Include your job openings on your company's website. List your available jobs on your traditional career services search sites such as Career Beacon, Workopolis, Wow Jobs, Kijiji, and there's many, many more. The wider your net, the more likely you are to get the information out to that right candidate. So, of course, enable applicants to apply for jobs online. Most young, tech-savvy candidates are now online, and that's how they like to submit their resumes, all electronically, so make that easily available for them. But I'd also recommend that you have paper copies of a specific if you have an application form, make sure you got paper copies available for those that are not tech-savvy. Make your company information readily available on your website, and you could also enter chat rooms that are for the relevant subjects. So, for example, if you're looking for a Java programmer, enter a Java chat room and describe the job, and you can put that information out there that way. So the second component would be to participate in networking events such as expos and job fairs. So go to your networks, spread the word about your job requirements. You've got lots of contacts within your industry. Spread the word. Ask acquaintances and friends if they've had employees who matched your requirements, and perhaps they didn't have room for them at the time, but now you can take advantage of that. And, of course, third, if your budget allows, you can hire a professional recruiting firm They may be already looking for individuals within your industry, and that might be very helpful for your business to take care of all of those details and take that off of your plate. Okay, so technique number 4, revive your interviewing process. So as I mentioned earlier, that a lot of employers don't recognize the interview process as a great marketing tool. So in a tight market, it's not a matter of whom you want, but who wants you. So if you're lucky enough to get a candidate into your interview, you don't want to turn them off by a bad interview experience. First impressions are very important. So first, choose the right people to conduct the interview. Make sure the person or the committee meeting with the recruits is sensitive to their needs and desires. It doesn't make sense for a senior partner to interview with young recruits if he or she can't relate to the 20 or 30-somethings. So interviewers should be prepared and informed and free to devote their attention to the candidates. So no interruptions with cell phones and, knocking on the door to attend other meetings and calls and that sort of thing. So focus on your candidates. Be there to, participate in a two-way conversation. Candidates nowadays are not interested in going in for an interview where they don't have the opportunity to participate or ask questions and have that open dialogue. So second part of your interviewing process is to make sure that the interview process is a big deal. So that may sound simple, but you want to make sure that you impress on your candidates that they are important to your firm. So, if you suggest that they're there for a certain time, ensure that you're available to meet with them. Let them know how long you expect the interview to be. If you are going to provide some sort of an assessment, if you want them to, type a letter for you or perform work on a piece of machinery or something along those lines, make sure that they know that in advance and they have an understanding of how long you would need them. Would it be, 20 minutes to an hour and a half? Make sure that they're aware of that. That's showing them that you respect their time as well. Third, know your firm's identity and sell it. So make a list of the key characteristics that make your firm unique and focus on these. So for example, if you're a community leader or if you promote from within, are you a family business? Are you environmentally friendly? And so on. Have that list readily available and communicate that to the candidate, because if they are interviewing with several companies, you want to make sure that you stand out in the forefront for them to choose you. And the fourth and final part of the interview process is knowing what you want. So do your homework before the candidate gets to your office. Recruiting expenses could cost your firm thousands of dollars annually. And when I have that conversation with employers, they don't really see it that way because I think they just don't calculate how long and how much time it takes to go through the advertising and the interviewing and calling references and conducting your interviews and the follow-up of the interviews and then the onboarding and how much time it takes for someone to get someone up to speed. And once you calculate all those hours and the time that individual is away from their daily routine, it adds up to a lot of time away from other activities that they could be doing for your business. So, of course, you don't want to waste time by selecting the wrong candidates to come in for your interview. Make sure that you know the characteristics of successful employees before you begin the process. So that, again, goes back to your job analysis. Finding the same characteristics in prospects will help you choose smarter and retain the star recruits. So if there is somebody already in your organization that is a top candidate, an employee who excels, what characteristics do they possess? And that's what you should be looking for in other candidates. So number 5, don't stop recruiting. It takes an organized, year-round plan to ensure that you have the right recruits when you need them. From online website applications to job fair presentations, recruiting is a continuous process. So you should always be on the lookout. Start recruiting even when you don't have an immediate need. Build a talent pool and build good relationships. If you meet someone at a Board of Trade luncheon or a conference or even at the grocery store who seems to have the qualities and qualifications that can help your organizational requirements, don't let the opportunity pass. Plant a seed about the future. Let them know that you might have vacancies in the future and that they should keep you in mind. So number 6, provide an amazing work experience. Create a great place to go to work. And that may seem pretty simple, but a lot of employers overlook it, and it can make a big difference to attracting the right candidates. So how would you do that? How do you create a great place to work? Well, you can talk to your employees, find out what they like and don't like about your environment. Some simple, some foundational type things would be to create a respectful workplace, invest in your employees, provide appropriate opportunities for training and growth, train managers to manage more effectively, increase the potential for jobs to be intrinsically motivating. So ensure that no matter what position an employee is in, that they are motivated to do the work, that they look forward to going to work, that they enjoy it. Create opportunities for career development within the firm. Many employees appreciate the opportunity to take on something new, a new project, a new responsibility. Be creative. Find ways that you can provide them with, something extra that piques their interest within your business. Recognize how quickly things can change and support your employees when dealing with those changes. So if somebody gets laid off or you stop selling a certain product or a service, that may make changes to their responsibilities. So, always keep that in mind that when something changes within an organization, the employees may have there may be some fallout for them, and to recognize that and find some ways to help support them with that. Involve your employees in organizational decisions. So do you have regular staff meetings, or are they involved? Do you ask for their input? Do you let them know what your strategic goals are for the next 6 months or the next year? Do you ask them for their feedback to suggest how a new product or service that you could be offering? Offer ways for employees to balance their work and life. So working from home if that's possible. Consider opportunities such as flex time or compressed time. Offer casual dress, like casual Fridays, that sort of thing that might help relieve some pressure for them. Also consider their physical surroundings. So if they're in an office environment, is it clean? Is it safe? Do they have a lunchroom? Those sorts of things would also help make a difference to their enjoyment of work on a daily basis. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the top 5 techniques to keep your top talent. So the number 1 is exactly the same as the last one because they're very related. If you can keep your top talent, then they're happy and the word is spread, then you're going to attract top talent. So that's key. So the best recruitment strategy is a sound retention strategy. Keeping your top talent improves your company's performance. It reduces hiring costs, and it boosts your reputation because you become known in industry or in your community as a successful and attractive place to work. New graduates and talented workers, they have options, and they want to work at a company that treats its employees so well that no one wants to leave. So your retention strategy becomes a word-of-mouth attraction strategy. By creating a workplace where everyone is respected, has an opportunity to contribute, to broaden their skill sets and feel that the work they do is valued and appreciated, they'll not only want to stay with you, but they'll also spread the word. So that's great. That's what you should be your final goal, what you're trying to achieve. That your current employees are boasting about what a great place it is to work, and that becomes your attraction strategy. So 5 techniques to keep your top talent. So of course, number 1 is exactly the same as it was. Provide an amazing work experience or a work environment. I often hear employers say that they can't compete for top talent because they can't offer the higher wages that the larger firms can. However, employees more often than not report the quality of the workplace ranks higher than their compensation package. Of course, employees do want to be compensated fairly for the work they do, but they are usually willing to take a lower paying job for one that meets other needs, such as providing a positive atmosphere where employees are respected and they are shown that they are valued, somewhere where they go to work happy every day. So that's key. So technique number 2, attract and hire top talent. This becomes a bit of a catch-22. If you have top talent, you're going to attract top talent, and so on. So again, we're back to that's very key that you make sure that you stick to your standards and that you hire top talent from the top to the bottom of your organization. Ensure you have high-quality, well-trained staff at every level, from upper management to the general labor pool and everyone in between. If you ask 10 people why they've left positions in the past, I bet 8 of them will say it was because of their supervisor. It's a key part that a lot of organizations miss out on, that because your employee was really good at something and then you promote them to another level to be supervisor or manager over employees, they may have been great at what their job was, but they're not trained in how to manage employees and how to work with staff. So don't forget that piece when you're promoting, to ensure that you give them that training to how to manage employees under them. And number 3, treat your employees so well they won't want to leave. So one suggestion is to treat them so well by providing them with appropriate training. So create a training plan for all of your employees. Training is a continuous process. It shows that you're making a commitment to them. So with each employee, probably on an annual basis, you meet with them, you identify areas for training, what needs to be, what opportunities there are for improvement, and put together a plan, what they would do, in the next 6 months or in the next year, and what you hope to change as a result of the training that you're going to provide for them. Also provide them opportunities to advance or grow. So we've already mentioned that. Give them new responsibilities to take a lead in the project or organize events. Create a committee that's of an interest to them, a fundraising opportunity, or participate in a community event, that sort of thing. Employees always appreciate having the opportunity to take on a new role, something extra to add to their resume, something that they can say has changed up their daily routine. So be creative. There's lots of opportunities. Encourage opportunities for socializing. So create a social committee, allocate a piece of budget or some funding for these activities. So it can be, organized family barbecues or staff bowling, that sort of thing. I'd suggest you go to your staff, come up with a suggestion of, maybe 6 activities. They can do one every second month. It helps build a great culture within your organization. And of course, finally, reward and recognize. Saying thank you goes a long way. And we'll talk about that again now in a minute. So number 4, provide creative incentives. So again, if you're a small business, you may feel that you can't compete with the large companies on salary. They may have compensation packages that you can't compete with. So you have to be creative to attract and keep the best and the brightest of the talent pool that's out there. So instead of offering big salaries, some employees are offering perks that may seem more fantasy-like than a 9 to 5, but these perks are often extensions of a company culture. So you can consider who your employees are and what they value. So for example, for younger generations, money is not as much of a driver. They prefer to find workplaces where they feel like they have a life instead of, they're at work all the time. So providing, more time off is more valuable to them than a higher paycheck. So one American-based company's benefits packages reads more like a Christmas list. They provide a $300 subsidy for employees who bike or ride to work so they can buy new wheels or shoes. They have an in-house physician to treat occasional colds or ankle sprains. Some organizations even offer self-improvement classes, things from, how to change a diaper to tax preparation. So be creative, talk with your employees, find out what is of value to them. And of course, we've just mentioned the reward and recognize, but I think it's a key component. So it's the 5th step in retaining your top talent is to reward and recognize. So it's important to always to talk to your employees, find out what they value. You can do this as a one-on-one, or you can do an employee survey. You can have a suggestion box. Find out what it is that they value. So, for example, some employees are interested in identifying employees of the month. Some are interested in, the company watch or the traditional gift for 5-year and 10-year anniversaries, that sort of thing. Others value vacation days. Some would prefer to have, gift certificates to a local restaurant or to the movie theater. Find out what's unique and interesting of value to your employees. By providing them with rewards that is of no value to them, then they don't feel appreciated and recognized because it wasn't something that was valuable to them. So, of course, it's okay that your rewards and recognition program or package can be individualized. It can be different for everybody. But it's key to have some suggestions, get some information from your employees, and put a program in place so that it becomes consistent. And that way you can ensure that it happens. Of course, I think it should go without saying, but always be sure to say thank you. I can't tell you how many workshops I've conducted with employees, and when I ask the question, what makes you happy at your job, or why you left your job, what makes you unhappy, those sorts of things, it always comes down to recognition. Everybody wants to feel thanked and appreciated. So often and with sincerity, say thank you. Thanks for the great job you did on this particular project, or we really appreciated you coming in after work or spending the extra time at it. I sometimes hear employers say, but I don't need to thank them, that's their job, that it couldn't be any further from the truth. They are going to be more valuable to your company if you provide them with the thank you for the work that they do. It goes a long, long way. And in conclusion, identifying and hiring high-performing employees is what your company needs most in a tight labor market. Of course, those are the employees that are most difficult to get in these market conditions. You might find it tempting to give in to the warm body syndrome, so quickly filling an open position with the first available person, but don't fall back on the low-quality labor just because you're unable to hire the right candidate. As we mentioned earlier, bad hires can result in early quits or termination or other problems for your organization. They would lead to incurring costs for the same position, again, at a time when hiring costs are already high. Good talent is what gives your business the competitive edge. So hold on to your high level of requirements. You're better off leaving a position open than hiring a less talented employee. Now, of course, that's in the perfect world, and I recognize that, and because sometimes that's just not possible. You do have to fill the role. But if at all possible, hold out until you find that right person. So analyze your company needs, design a strategy, take the time to work your plan, and start recruiting before you need somebody. And then you can ensure that you can hire top talent. And that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions?
I think Caroline had a couple questions. She had them in the chat box there.
How do you feel about providing information on how the applicant will be evaluated? Would this be helpful to expose or risky? I always feel that transparency is important. The more information you can provide a candidate, the better. You let them know up front what you expect from them from the interview. You let them know what is the requirements for the position. Let them know how you're evaluating them. You can say, we're going to be probably run about half an hour. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. My colleague will ask a couple of more situational type questions. We will be doing some evaluating. We allot a certain amount for your resume, and then we base it on a certain portion for your interview. And then, of course, we will be contacting your references, and there will be a value associated with that as well. And then we will calculate the most successful candidate based on those figures. Does that answer your question, Caroline?
Yes, thank you. That's perfect. I don't mean to jump on with so many questions. I'm sure other people have questions, but another one that I would ask just to follow up on that is if the candidate doesn't ask ahead of time how they're going to be evaluated or what is the process, how much of the onus should be on the company to continue to provide that information? Or do you think it's something that should be front and center at all times that they're just providing ahead of time, or is it something that they just provide upon request?
How you're going to evaluate them, you mean?
Yes, and also, you were going into some detail about the job requirements and whatnot. I guess I'm kind of referring to a lot of businesses that have a position that they need filled, and they're just trying to rack their head around that and find someone really quickly and whatnot. And they don't really get into this much detail unless someone starts asking questions. So is it something that everybody should set up ahead of time, or is this something that, if the candidate is really interested, they should be providing?
I think the onus should be on the employer, simply because it's going to cost you in the end if you don't provide the information up front. If you have a candidate come in for an interview that seems like the perfect fit and you don't tell them all the information about the position or what's required, or something as simple as there's travel required, then when you offer the person the position and they come in and they start to work for you and then they realize that travel is required and they're not interested in that position any longer and they quit, then you've got to go through that whole process all over again of trying to find somebody, advertising and interviewing and going through reference checks and all that sort of thing. So in the end, it's going to cost you money because you weren't upfront with all of the information. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Do you by any chance have a template of that businesses could use to make sure that they're providing all the information? I know the lists are there, and that's a really great start, but maybe even examples of how businesses have provided this information?
I think that I don't necessarily have a particular template, but you should always have a job description prepared ahead of time before your candidate comes in, and those details should be in your job description. If they aren't in your job ad, they should definitely be in your job description. But if you have them in your job ad ahead of time, then you're eliminating people from even applying that wouldn't be interested. So that reduces your time of having to go through those applications. So if you let them know up front that, they're required to stand for 12 hours a day, or they have to work a midnight to 8 a.m. shift, or, you let them know the bad details about the position ahead of time so they can make that decision whether that's something that they're interested in or not. And therefore, if they're not going to apply. You don't have to spend the time of considering them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a great idea, and maybe perhaps it's something that we could all look into of kind of creating a template or a checklist so that when a business is looking for an employee, they say, okay, I've gone through all of these avenues. I've made sure that I've provided information on the job, information on the interview process, information up on the follow-up process after the interview, and so then it allows that employer to kind of stay in tune with the exact things that they need to be doing at that moment in time. Because they usually have a lot of other things to be thinking about as well. They're running their business, and if they're looking for staff, it usually means that they're already overwhelmed with the amount of work that they have.
Absolutely, there's no doubt. There's a lot of work in recruitment.
Caroline and Carlos, Juanita, the industry does have all kinds of templates and toolkits for HR, human resources for tourism. Under the Merit line of product, there is a whole HR toolkit, so industry can avail of those resources through us at any time.
Well, there you go. That's great.
That sounds perfect. Thank you so much, Juanita. And do you have a link that you could put up for that toolkit?
Yeah, we'll put it in the chat box, but it said you can come through H&L and contact us, and it's under the Merit line of products. It's called an HR toolkit.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Online modules or CDs.
Are there any other questions?
I got a question. It's, of course, in industries where it's competitive for employees, what are your thoughts, or what are the guidelines or the ethical pieces on employers poaching other employers' staff? Because that seems to happen quite a bit in a lot of different industries, not just tourism. But
Sure, absolutely. That's a great question, Chris. Of course, there's certain, ethical considerations there that, you shouldn't, go into a person's business and try to steal them right out from under their nose, obviously. But I think it's on each individual's own responsibility to ensure that they're providing the best environment they can to retain their employees. So if, the employee is currently working for a company and they're happy, no matter if someone comes in to try and poach them or not, they're not going to leave because they're valued and appreciated and they enjoy their work environment where they are. Another question that I often get is about training. So employees would say, we can't train them because we provide them all of this great training, we spend a lot of money, and then they go work for our competitors, which is unfortunate, but it's part of business. You're worse off if you don't train your employees and your competitor is training them and they're improving their services or their products as a result of that training and you're not. You become stagnant. You're not offering the great service or the great product of your competitor. Your employees are probably not as happy as your competitor's employees because you're not investing in them. They're not aware of all the latest and greatest technologies or services that are available. So they feel as though they're not developing and they're falling behind, and customers are coming in asking for the latest and greatest and they're not able to provide it. So again, I think it comes back to you train them, you show them that you're investing in them, you provide them a great work environment, you try and meet their needs as best as you possibly can and hope that they stay with you.
Yeah, and I guess I would just add to that. This is Caroline again. I think you just hit the nail on the head there. I hear that all the time from tourism operators. They don't want to, or they're cautious to invest in their staff, especially new staff, which typically need the training, because they're nervous about losing them within a few weeks, if not within the year or the season. But it is a holistic approach that they need to take in a sense that they're bettering the industry in the long run. And just to add to that, I'll throw it out there. I was speaking to someone from CBDC yesterday about different funding opportunities for entrepreneurs and possibly even their staff. And I know with this Path to Purchase program that we're working towards, there's a lot of opportunities too. So I think it's all going to filter in slowly but surely to encourage all employers to offer training or encourage their staff to take part in training to better everybody in the industry in the long run.
Absolutely.
Carla, I think Paul has a kind of a advice getting the question there in the chat box. He said, my phone was giving me feedback, so I hung up. However, I am in the process of recruiting an employee, but thus far I have not been successful in recruiting the right person. I'm contemplating making contact with people who have provided me with good customer service, as similar question that Chris just broached, I guess, about finding someone in the community that's doing a good job and asking them to come work for them. Any advice you would give there, Carla?
Absolutely. So I guess what you're suggesting is you're looking to hire somebody in a customer service position, and you're not having a lot of success with that. So you're looking to go to, I guess, another business or organization's employees who do provide you good service and trying to entice them to come work for you. I think that, all is fair in, tourism and work. If you can provide this individual a better workplace or a work package and they want to come work for you, then that's, I think that's fair. If they were currently happy where they were, if they were in a great situation, then they're just going to, turn you down, and that's fair as well. I'd be interested in finding out why you haven't been successful in finding the right person so far. Just if you want to let us know, that would be great. Where are you advertising? How are you doing it? Are you doing, collecting resumes? Do you have an online application? What kind of services are you offering? Those sorts of things. We might be able to provide you with some suggestions to help you out there.
Well, I guess he's asking you, should he just call them up and ask them? I guess if you're interacting with them, this is my bit of advice on an HR front, is, you might want to start a conversation with them and then let them know that there is employment opportunities, that, that they did a great job and that maybe there's opportunities with you as well. But as I said, make sure that it's kept professional and above board at all times.
Absolutely.
Paul, I'd suggest as well, just throwing something in there, we're currently looking for someone here at Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador. And I had been noticing when I've been looking and hiring employees, putting out resumes and posting them with the job banks and stuff, that a lot of people that we were looking for were actually using a website called Indeed.ca, INDEEDE. And I said, I never put the job there, but a lot of people are out there. It's kind of a social media job thing, similar to Kijiji. So recently I posted our job on that site, and there are some great tools for the employer to use to manage the influx of online resumes, to schedule appointments. So it's you can post for free, but if you want to get it boosted up and, similar to Kijiji, you can pay a bit more to get more exposure out there. So it seems to be a place where there's a lot of people looking for work. So just my suggestion.
Excellent. Thanks, Juanita. The internet is a fabulous thing. I find that Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter are also great, easy ways to get your job information out there. It spreads pretty quickly. Generally, your your contacts are people in your industry that you're looking to fill, and they will help share it for you. I often hear employers tell me that they have, they're not getting the right responses of candidates that they're looking for when they're advertising on, say, the job bank. And I go and I look at their ad, and it's a basic, well, I'm looking to hire, wait staff or servers. This is what we pay, and please submit your resume. So, of course, with the fewer details that you provide, the less attractive it looks. I recommend that you put in lots of information about what a great business that you have, great culture that you're offering, the opportunities that you would be providing. Is there training opportunities? Is there room for advancement? Can you say it's a family-friendly environment, or we're a community-minded business, and we're looking for an individual to join our team, an enthusiastic individual to help promote our community activities. Try and sell the position as much as you can, of course. Always be honest. If there are downsides, then share the downsides as well, but you also need to make the position sound as great as it could possibly be to make it interesting, to pique people's interest who want to apply.
Is there any last-minute questions out there? We'd take those, and if not, we'd clue up for the day and get everybody back to their busy days, I'm sure. Thanks, Carla, for a great presentation, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Part of the role that Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador plays is we are here to help with your be kind of a HR help desk. So there's some things, if you ever have any questions, want to know more about different jobs, the standards, the skills that people in those jobs should have when you're doing job descriptions, or to talk about ways to find employees if you're having trouble recruiting, because there's always other ways, looking outside the province, outside the country, etc. Please give us a call here at the office, and we're more than willing to help. Yes, we will. We did record the session, so we will be posting it up on our Facebook, on our YouTube channel. After the session, we have to do some work on it before we do post it, but we will let you know if you wanted to share it. If you're wondering about next steps in learning after this presentation, we always have a number of things on the go. So watch your emails for further things coming up in the next few weeks and months. By all means, call the office. We're able to set up some opportunities for one-on-one mentoring, sharing resources. There are a lot of things that we can connect you with. So stay tuned to your emails and to www.hnl.ca and to social media. Once again, I'd like to thank Carla for joining us today, and our partners, the Department of Business, Tourism, Culture, and Rural Development, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, and our regional destination management organizations. And two of those partners, of course, on the phone today will be Caroline from the Venture Central and Chris from the Department of Business, Tourism, Culture, and Rural Development. And if you're in their region and you need some help, by all means, connect with them as well. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to working with you in the future.